So this Sunday is one of those that's always confusing for a lot of people because we light the pink candle and not the next purple candle. The reason we do that is because this is Gaudete Sunday, which is the Latin word that means you all rejoice. Y'all rejoice because we're Texans. And the idea is that we light this third candle because more or less we're at the halfway point through our Advent journey. We're not lighting it at the end because we still have a little bit of ways to go. And it's right now in the midst of it all that the church is telling us to rejoice. And yet at the same time as we're hearing about rejoicing, we've got some pretty hefty readings. For instance, from the letter of St. James, be patient, brothers and sisters. And from the gospel reading, we have John the Baptist who heard in prison the works of Christ. So this is already after John had been captured. Remember, at the beginning of the gospel, he's proclaiming that one mightier than I is coming, and I'm not worthy to untie his sandal or to carry his sandal. And now he finds himself in prison, and I think wondering, what was I preaching about? Because I preached all these things about the coming Messiah, and nothing's happened yet. I'm still waiting. In fact, now I find myself in prison. So what do I make of all of this? So he sends his disciples to go ask, are you the Christ? Did I mess up? Did I get this wrong? And sometimes maybe that's just the Christian life in general. We've been baptized. Probably most of us have been confirmed. Some of you have found your vocations in marriage, single life, whatever. And yet sometimes we feel like in the midst of that we heard this crystal pristine call. This is Jesus. This is what I'm supposed to be about and doing. And then time goes on and you start to wonder, what am I doing? What is this all about? In the midst of life, the church tells us to rejoice. Because we haven't reached the end goal yet. Christ hasn't totally come into our hearts yet. We're going to celebrate how he came actually into the world and took on our human flesh. But there's something that's still lacking in our own flesh of Christ becoming more real and more present. Because we continue to feel difficulties and problems. And sometimes we doubt because we have to be patient for a very long time, it feels like. So in the midst of wherever you're at in life, in this Advent journey, or just life in general, I'm going to dare to ask you to rejoice that the Lord is not done with you yet. Even though the journey seems too long, even though you find yourself in whatever the prison might look like, to not give up quite yet. To know that the Lord is near, even though it doesn't really feel like it sometimes.